You probably heard by now. The government has just removed GST on new builds for first-time home buyers. Sounds like homes just got cheaper, right? What if I told you that this GST cut is just a smokescreen? Because the city and the province are quietly making you pay 5 times more in hidden taxes on every new build. I will break it all down in today's video, so let's get started.
So what I'm announcing today is that my new government will eliminate the GST for first-time homebuyers on all new and substantially renovated homes under $1 million. This is a big deal because first-time homebuyers are the major purchasers of new and substantially renovated homes. This can provide up to $50,000 in savings for families entering the housing market.
The new Prime Minister Mark Carney just made headlines, removing the 5% GST on new builds for first-time home buyers. That's $50,000 on a $1 million home. Sounds generous, but here's what they do not want you to know. There are so many hidden fees when you're buying a new build. I'll break them all down. The first one, and probably the biggest one, is development charges. Now, development charges is something that, the city puts on the builder and builder passes on to you to develop the areas around the home that you bought. For instance, there are roads to be built, there are, banks to be built, there are community centers, there are schools to be built. So all that development requires money, and the builder foots the bill for that, and in turn the builder actually passes on that cost to you. Now in 2015 that development charges were $35,000, and I understand that there's inflation and everything that has happened in the last 10 years, but there's no justification for this number to increase to 5 times. About $150,000 is what is being spent or being tagged as development charges, and all that is actually adding to the construction cost, which is already pretty high. There are other, that's not the only thing. There are other things that are still there. There was GST, which is $50,000. That's the cut that they have made, but then there are provincial taxes. So in Ontario, there's a 13% HST. You all know that. And when they say that they have removed GST, they have not removed the entire thing. They have just removed the federal portion of it, which is 5%, and you still have the provincial tax of 8%. Now, if the province comes out and says that we are scrapping the provincial tax as well because we are charging you so much already, then it's gonna be $130,000 cheaper, and I'll say that they made a dent in the overall, almost like a scam that they are running here. But obviously, if you break all this down, there's education development charges of $8,000. I don't know why it's not already included in the development charges. There's parkland fees, there's community benefit charges, there's building permits, there's utility hookups, there's environmental levies, professional fees, which the architects get paid to build, stuff around. Land transfer taxes are about $15,000 that you pay when you are closing a home, and all that is on top of the property taxes that you pay on an ongoing basis. This is just a one-time fee that you pay on a new build when you're closing that. Then you have property taxes on top of that, and all these are taxes with just fancier names, and all this is adding up to substantially to the new build cost. So if I am to break down $1 million home or around that, the base construction and land, that is $600,000. So that's the construction cost. There's no margin that is included. This is just the pure construction cost that is there, and that only accounts to for 52% of the overall price that you're paying. Then you have all the hidden taxes and fees, which amounts to about $408,000. That's 35% of everything that you're paying, and I'm already excluding the $50,000 that you're getting a rebate. Now, that $50,000 rebate is only at a 1 million less homes, like homes less than 1 million. But again, it's 35% of the overall price of the home that you're paying in hidden taxes and fees. And yes, $50,000, helps, but no one is talking about the other fees that they are charging, which is bizarre. Then there is a builder margin, and understandably, right, the builders are, won't do it for free. It's a for-profit business for them, and they put a 10 to 15% margin on top of it. Let's say 13%. I've just taken a middle ground, 12.5%. That's another $150,000, and the total that you pay for the new build is about $1.158 million, and of that, only $600,000 is base construction and the cost to build that particular home. Now, you might think that this is a normal thing that happens in every country, and that's not true. If you compare this against US, I talked about the development charges, I talked about community benefit, I talked about all these, charges that Canada has. US also has that, but it not to that extent. There's a development fees which is capped at $40,000 in even in expensive states like California and Texas. There's no HST or GST equivalent, so there's only a 4 to 7% of like state taxes that you have, and in some states even that's not there. There's no land transfer tax in most states. Some of the states still have it. There is no community benefits charges. There is no weird one-off charges that you see on the left side in Canada, and this all in the US accounts for 8 to 15% depending on the state that you're buying to the home price. So 35% versus, let's say on the higher side 15%, there's a massive gap in the amount of hidden fees and taxes that we are paying when we are buying a new build. That's exactly why the same $1 million home costs way less to build in the US versus Canada, and why our housing affordability is 80% policy driven. But the big question is, the biggest thing that you have, the development charges. Why the heck did they increase to 5x? What justifies that? And there are a few things that have changed in the last 10 years. The first one is that the federal and provincial funding hasn't kept up. There's so much inflation that has happened. Everything has gotten expensive. Infrastructure is expensive to build. So municipalities now fund more infrastructure upfront, and it's being passed on to the builder in terms of development charges, and then they are passed on to you as a person who is buying that. Result is that development charges grew to cover schools, parks, fire stations, libraries, water treatment plants, transit expansions, and all that bill is being footed by someone who is buying a home. Provincial legislation changes. There are so many changes that have happened. Development Charges Act was broadened, and it actually made it more vague when they changed that Development Charges Act, and that has resulted in cities increasing rates to fund soft services like community centers, daycares, public art, and vision projects. So for instance, you have to build like an entertainment district here, and that is also being taken from as part of the development charges. And the reality is that what if the entertainment district or the development of the city does not happen because a new mayor comes in and they have a different dream, and all that money just paid and it went to waste? I just don't understand how these vision projects can be part of development charges, but that's how it's structured right now because the Development Charges Act is too broad. Building restrictions and labor shortages, we all know that there is a massive labor. We need 80% more labor to build the amount of homes that we need in Canada. And then you have the building restrictions and the labor shortage. We need 80% more labor to build the amount of homes that we need. And that is just adding on to the construction costs and the land costs because of the restrictions that we have. And therefore, development charges are calculated based on anticipated infrastructure costs. So naturally, and all this inflation is built into the development charges. And then you have delays and red tape. I think Pierre Poilievre, and I'm not a political person, I'll probably be making a video on both, how both policies are running. The next video will be on that. However, the delays and red tape, and that's something which is very common with the liberals, it's crazy. Approval times are bizarre. And one might say that you are a conservative because you are saying that Pierre Poilievre is right. I'm not saying that. I've seen that the approval rates are bizarre. It's all over the news, and it takes double the time. In the last 10 years, the amount of time it takes to give an approval for a simple basement construction, let's say in Burlington, it takes about 4 to 5 months to just get an approval to build a legal basement, which is bizarre, and that's not how it should be. We are talking about a multi-million-dollar projects here. Like builders building an entire society of 100 plus homes, and all those approvals are taking way too much time to build, and that's just discouraging the builders and all these delays, because there's carrying cost associated when there are delays, and all that carrying cost just gets added on to the development charges. And DC here, if you're wondering, is development charges by now. So all this is just adding to the development charges, and that's how it has increased to 5x. Is it fair? Absolutely not. Now the big question is, should you be buying pre-construction homes just because you're saving 5%? The answer is that you're still paying a lot more in other charges, and that's where I would say that resale is better, especially in today's market, because you know what you're paying for. First of all, there's no BS fees and taxes. If you just break it down, there are development charges, there are education levies. All these fees are not there, and obviously you have to pay the land transfer tax, but that's the only tax that you pay, plus an ongoing property tax that you have to pay in Canada. The other big thing about resale home is that most of these homes, the older homes, have larger lots and better locations because the schools around, it's already a mature neighborhood, who lives there, the median income in that neighborhood, you just know better about that neighborhood, and therefore they obviously are in better locations. Plus they are larger lots in the sense that all the new builds that are happening, I see, like even double garage homes, they are like 36 by 80 feet lots, whereas, for instance, my lot, which is 2007 build, is 130 feet, depth lot. And all these new homes, just to build more, homes and make more profits, all these builders are just cutting down on the lot sizes. And if you are someone who is looking at a bigger lot, new homes might not be something that you want to look at. Resale homes have better quality of construction for sure. I've lived in two like pre-construction homes, and the quality of construction is nowhere close to the home that I'm living in now, which is 17-year-old construction. Like it's just the quality of construction is just bizarre right now. And I don't think all these older homes can actually, stay like really strong for 100 years. I just don't have the same confidence on the new builds. I don't think they can stay, at least the single family homes, I don't think they can stay for 100 years. I hope they do, but I don't think so. You're not living in a construction zone for months. I've lived in a construction zone for 2 years. In my last two homes, they were all pre-construction. One was a rental, one was, my own home. And the thing is that when you're living in a new home, there are homes being built around you. There's no vegetation, there is no like trees, and there's just a lot of construction, the cranes, everything is just, like banging on your, I still remember at 2 a.m. at night, my fire alarm rang, and then I called the guys, why did the fire alarm, ring? I just called the electrician, and he said that it was nothing but dust that was from all the construction, and that actually tipped the fire alarm at 2 a.m. at night. And we had to change all the fire alarms, and we had to clean all of them. Those are the downsides of buying a pre-construction home, and therefore I'm a huge propagator of resale homes right now. Removing GST from new homes for first-time homebuyers sounds great, but let's call it what it really is: a political smokescreen and an election stunt. Because the real reason why homes are expensive in Canada isn't the 5% GST. It's the other $300,000 of levies and taxes and fees, which are bizarre. And these are being slapped by cities and provinces on every new home year after year. And while they distract you with the $50,000 savings, they are pocketing 6 times that in hidden taxes. It's fueled by municipal greed, red tape, broken approval system, and a complete lack of accountability. Until we fix that, this GST headline is just a band-aid on a bullet wound, designed to win votes, not solve the real problems. That's all I have for today. If you are someone who is looking to buy a new home, I hope this video was helpful. Or if you know someone who is buying a new construction, I would highly encourage you to send this video to that person. That's all I have for today. मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए bye bye.